going to leave a legacy through forecast. I'm not saying don't address your emotions. What I'm saying is understand who you are, and if you have to pivot at the right time, you need to know when you're going to pivot. Some days you're going to wake up and you're going to be that dude.
He's also speaking in front of his parents for the first time. Ron and Lisa, you did a good job. From ThinkReactLead, the speaker's coach, Faussette.
You know, we talk about legacy. And some of you know my story about kicking in doors without a bulletproof vest and standing in front of a man in front of his 3 kids, getting ready to take him out 2.5 pounds of trigger pull into a 5-pound trigger, and how that changed my life. Last year was vulnerability. This year is transparency. The opposite of legacy is rejection. One cannot move forward towards legacy without first understanding and rectifying why they're rejected. I learned the hard way. I joined the military for validation. Then I became a cop for validation. And while I was a police officer, I lost myself. Yes, I kicked in doors without a bulletproof vest because I wanted to be taken out. I knew that I wanted to leave a legacy. I did not know how it was done, nor did I feel that I was worthy enough to make it happen. Are there any veterans in the room? All right. Give me an Thank you for your service. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for brothers and sisters like you. Let me tell you that right now. There's this thing that we have in the military called a 4 count. And you veterans know what I'm talking about. In the civilian world, a push-up is down, up, that's 1. In the military, down, up is half. Down, up again is 1. Where that's a 4 count. Now, as I have applied this to my life, this 4 count concept, go ahead and turn the music off. It's helped me understand who I am. Not who I thought I was at the age of 30. Not who I thought I was when I finally came back to Arizona after engagements and deployments and kicking in doors. But there comes a time where you ask yourself, why am I sleeping in my bedroom closet with the door closed? I don't have PTSD. I'm good. No, it's because you can't or won't address or you can't control the space outside of you, so you confine yourself to places that you can control, and you try to jump into a relationship after another relationship. It's not me. Well, last year after Meltdown, I committed myself to a journey to understand this. Why wasn't it ticking the way that I needed it to tick? I was still a coach. I was still traveling and speaking. The first doctor told me I was bipolar. Not what I wanted to hear. Talk about a confidence crusher. I saw another doctor, because I would always make these weird noises. He said, well, you have mild Tourette's. Like, I'm cool with the mild, it's the Tourette's part I have a problem with. And I stutter. I grew up from the age of 5 till even today stuttering. Yet I speak. How's that done? What I found out after I finally found another doctor, you know, we always find somebody that tells us something that we want to hear, right? It just feels good. I came across this doctor who was literally 2 weeks away from retirement. And to this day, I really think he was an angel. And he set me down. He said, yes, you've got Tourette's. Yes. Some medical examiners might suggest that you're bipolar. Yes, you stutter. But Superman flies. I said, you know what? You basically say I'm a superhero. So I went with it. And then I got home. It still resonates. Like and excuse the terminology, I literally felt half retarded. But then I started talking to God, and I'm praying, and I said, Lord, I need you to get rid of this. I'm done taking medication so I can exist in my day-to-day. I have a family to raise. I felt rejected. You know, when I left, and I'm going to get back to that, when I left Jackson, Mississippi as a police officer, and I've never shared this with anybody on any stage, I had a family. I had a 5-year-old son that I used to pick up every morning in my squad car and take him to kindergarten. But when you hurt as many people as I've hurt, your family starts getting death threats. And then you start to lose yourself. You don't feel black, you don't feel white, you feel gray. You stop feeling. And when you stop feeling, you go from suicidal to homicidal. And I was in a relationship that was physically abusive. But as a male, as a cop, I can't say anything. Until one day my sergeant said, Faussette, you got to go. You're going to end up in jail or dead. He said, I've seen this play out time and time again. I packed up my stuff. I had already put in my 2 weeks notice. I was already minutes away from killing people on the streets. By this time, I have kicked out people's teeth out their mouth. I have physically broken ribs with my hands. And I'm not a big dude, but when you hate life, you're unstoppable in a way that's not cool. And I left. Somebody asked me the other day, Dom, why do you speak? I said, I have a 21-year-old son now. He's got brothers. They hate their father because all they know is the darkness. I said, the only way for me to connect with them is to be the obvious choice on platforms such as this. So I go hard every single time that I do, but what gets me through that is my 4 count, which positions me to a point of having command presence. So I can actually, sincerely, wholeheartedly position myself to move forward and create a legacy. So let me give you an example of what a 4 count is. A 4 count is down, up, hard. But in my life, it was down, up, down. I will never be rejected again. Up. Down, up, down. I can finally look at myself in the mirror and understand that I have purpose. Never mind the fact that I have Tourette's, that a doctor says I'm bipolar, and I stutter, and I barely graduated high school. Up. Down, up, down. I will value who I am as a person. And I will no longer hold on to the hate that allowed me to move through this world in such an aggressive nature. I will learn how to love up, but then go home, down, up, and look at myself in the mirror and want to take myself out. My father bought me a Glock 26 during my graduation of police academy. That Glock 26 has been on the temple of my head up 3 times. Trying to pull the trigger. Down, up, down. I will no longer blame others. Now, this is for me. When I speak, I just talk to myself. If you happen to take something away from it, wonderful. But hurting is not fun. But addressing the hurt is what allows me to move forward. Down, up, down. Recover. And Father's Day just came around. I have a daughter who lives less than 10 miles away from me. Not a peep. And that hurts. But it doesn't stop me from moving because of my 4 count. I don't have the option to wear pain on my sleeves. I don't have the option to not address what's holding me back. Why do I feel rejected? See, women, some of you are married to men or with men that you just don't get. And in my era or age range, it wasn't rejection. There's just a certain way you treat a boy, and there's a certain way you treat a girl. And now we become adults, we join the military, we do all these cool things, and we jump into a relationship. And we try to be a man in today's society. If I'm too much of a man, then I'm hurting the woman. If I'm not enough of a man, then I get called out by my boys. Yet we're trying to find this balance. There's no such thing as balance. Yeah, some days you're going to wake up and you're going to be that dude. And some days you're going to wake up and you need to understand how to rectify that hurt and not wear this stuff on your sleeves. Because when you stand over a man who's breathing his last 2 or 3 breaths, he's not concerned with what his boys said. He's not concerned with his business. He's not concerned with himself. He says something to the effect of, "Can you just text my mother that I love her?" But when you see these things over and over and over and over again, it takes you 40 years. I'm 40 years of age to completely understand why you are here and how you're going to leave a legacy through 4 count. I'm not saying don't address your emotions. What I'm saying is understand who you are. And if you got to pivot at the right time, you need to know when you're going to pivot. Because we get so caught up in tradition. Well, this is the way it's done because this is what so-and-so said of how it's going to take place. No, pivot. When you're engaging and you go into a room, you kick in the door, intel tells you there's 2 individuals in there, you kick in the door and you dialed in and there's 5. Guess who doesn't have the luxury of saying, "You know what, I'll be right back"? No, doesn't happen. That's called command presence. So when you kick in the door and you get all of that stuff, all of that gunk, all of that junk, all of that hurt, all of that past rejection. Trust me, Father's Day hurts. Every single year. It hurts. I have a 21-year-old son out there that nothing. And I can't be there for him. One day I will. But while I'm addressing who I am as an individual, I still have to move forward. And it's the days that you wake up that you don't want to do it, is when you need to engage your 4 count. Your 4 count might be your emotional awareness or lack thereof. Your 4 count might be addressing a past hurt from a father, a mother, an uncle, an aunt. A past relationship that you haven't gotten over. Because you will not be able to put yourself in a position to create a legacy, to be a legend without command presence. And you cannot engage said command presence by wearing garbage on your sleeves. It is impossible because on the morning that you wake up where you got maybe 25 minutes of sleep and you got a headache, and all you did was dream about past engagements or past deployments or the one time you saw somebody murdered on the sidewalk. This is for me. World doesn't stop. You still have to be a husband. You still have to be a wife. You still have to be a father. You still have to be a mother. And if you think anything that happened to you, that person or those people or persons owe you an apology, they don't. Because as long as you walk around thinking that somebody owes you an apology, that's going to be the one thing that holds you back. You cannot wear that on your sleeves. So when you pivot, you need to surprise any audience that you walk into. Whether the audience is audience of one, which is you standing in front of the mirror, or it's an audience such as this. You got to show up every day and be the obvious choice. If you're not the obvious choice every morning that you wake up, then there needs to come a point in time that you address all of your past hurts and stop wearing this garbage on your sleeves. And again, I'm just having a conversation with myself. Is it hard? Yes. Is it impossible? At times it's going to feel like it is, but it's not. When you rip those sleeves off and you engage a different version of self, guess who wins? You and anybody else that's attached to you. This could be your mom and your dad. This could be your siblings. This could be the person on social media that you don't realize looks up to you. And you show up a different person, ready to take on the world. Your world. The world on the inside. I haven't slept in a closet on a closet floor in over 4 years. For me, that's a win. I haven't felt like the need to hurt somebody, and it doesn't matter when, but it's been a while. It's not 4 years, I'll say that. Why? Because I don't wear anything on my sleeves. That's why. When I show up to get some. When I show up with command presence. When I show up hurt, and that's okay. Because I'm ready to engage. I'd rather be operating in my hurt, in my emotion, rectifying it minute after minute after minute, step after step after step, and still make things happen and get stuff done. Because by the end of the day, I'll feel like a winner, and I won't let the lack thereof during that day hold me back. Fellas, it's okay to be soft. The day that I softened who I was as a person was the day that I fell in love with my wife, was the day that my relationship with my parents just cemented. Spent 30 plus years blaming them for who I'm not. It's not their problem. I'm a grown man. Get over it. Take off your sleeves, kick in the door, kick out some teeth, and engage your command presence by starting with your 4 count. Thank you.